Good, happy Friday morning, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this morning news update right here on the Riley King Radio Network. Let's get started right now. First up, New Hampshire officials say they're prepared for potential impacts of Tropical Storm Elsa. Flash flooding possibility as storm moves northeast. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Roll with us and get a $2,500 signing bonus. McLean Concord has immediate warehouse positions open. Starting pay up to $18 per hour. Walk-ins are welcome every Tuesday. McLean Concord. Apply today. McLean is an equal opportunity employer.
Tropical storm Elsa is churning towards New England, bringing heavy rain up the East Coast.
The most important message that we'll share with our viewers is turn around, don't drown.
The potential exists for flash flooding in some areas of the Granite State. Those at campgrounds are being told to watch out for the possibility of rising waters, which has led to evacuations in past years.
So if you're in a campground, just please be aware of where your surroundings and how to get out if you may need to get out in evacuation.
But elsewhere, Emergency Management Director Jennifer Harper says there's not a lot of concern of rising rivers, lakes, and streams. Wind is also not expected to be a major threat, even on the seacoast.
We do know that the tides are not going to be an issue associated with the storm, so that's a good thing that we don't have to deal with storm surge, as well as, those higher winds and surf conditions. Always, if the surfers are out there, please be aware of the rip currents.
Harper doesn't expect they'll need to open the state's emergency operations center, but will if the situation warrants it.
Although the storm may not produce hurricane force winds, associated damages, hurricane season does not end until November 1st, so this could be a good opportunity for people that don't have plans in place to start making those plans as we continue into hurricane season.
The state says utility companies will be ready to respond to outages as needed, but again, wind is not expected to have a major impact in this storm. Reporting live in Concord tonight, Mike Cronin, WMUR News.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. 17 families sue over masks in school, but some districts say no mask mandates planned. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Golden Corral in Manchester is open and now offers a weekend breakfast buffet. Come on in for a safe, comfortable, customer-friendly experience featuring a delicious, fresh, all-you-can-eat buffet of homemade favorites. Golden Corral at the shops at South Willow in Manchester, the only one for everyone.
Chris Grout says his son has bronchitis and was mandated to wear a mask at his Londonderry school this past year. He says his frustrations were ignored. Now he's concerned about the fall.
I just would rather not cover his face for any extended period of time. Now, I would never dare to tell somebody else that they can't do it.
He is among 17 families joined in a civil suit. Their goal, to make sure wearing a mask is optional when kids return to school.
It causes a lot of different issues for children, both physically, psychologically, and emotionally. And then the second concern is these masks are not necessary. New Hampshire is no longer in a state of emergency. The state is wide open.
He believes masks also violate a restraint statute.
It's so broadly worded that it conceivably includes covering a child's face with any kind of material.
The suit includes 5 families from Timberlane Regional, 11 from Londonderry, and 1 from the Epping School District. Froho claims they had potential plans to mandate masks at the time the suit was filed.
These school districts stated that masks would simply be optional for the next school year. These parents would have no problem dropping these lawsuits.
Now, the Epping School Superintendent says they've had plans, a mask-free draft plan for several weeks that the school board is expected to pass next week. Londonderry Superintendent says it's been their practice to follow current guidance, which is mask optional. We have not heard back from Timberlane. We're live in Portsmouth. Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Current COVID-19 cases in New Hampshire rise above 200 again. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Golden Corral in Manchester is open and now offers a weekend breakfast buffet. Come on in for a safe, comfortable, customer-friendly experience featuring a delicious, fresh, all-you-can-eat buffet of homemade favorites. Golden Corral at the shops at South Willow in Manchester, the only one for everyone.
Pandemic news right now. 2 New Hampshire counties have returned to moderate community transmission. Coos and Belknap seeing the increase, with the rest of the state remaining at minimal. Now, there are 36 new cases of COVID-19 to report tonight, with active cases jumping to 212, the most in 3 weeks. Current hospitalizations are up slightly to 15, but there are no new deaths tonight.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Battle over voting rights. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Enjoy presentations with Canva.
Franchise people, but the key thing to...
For more on the battle over voting rights, we bring in ABC's political director, Rick Klein. Rick, thanks for joining us as usual. Faith reported on that $25 million I Will Vote initiative. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, Lindsay, this is money that the Democratic National Committee is going to put toward voter education, voter registration, also legal efforts, which could be critical in this fight to try to combat what they see as Republican efforts to disenfranchise people. But the key thing to think about through all of this, Lindsay, is this is essentially playing under the current rules at the same time that Republicans are working to change those rules in so many states. So they're going to basically be trying to tread water here at best as Democrats and try to get the word out that, yes, it's going to be different when you vote in many, many states next year.
And President Biden has repeatedly said that it's critical to make voting easier and to stop efforts that make voting harder. But it doesn't look like Democrats can get a federal voting rights bill through Congress, at least not anytime soon. So what can the president really do realistically on this issue at this point?
Probably the biggest thing is empowering his Justice Department, as he has done. But we saw with that Supreme Court ruling just a week ago that there are fewer tools that are going to be available to federal authorities to try to enforce old laws like the Voting Rights Act. It was essentially gutted by the Supreme Court. So that means that the Justice Department, when it challenges state law, it's going to have a precedent now that's working against it. It's going to be that much harder for them to get that thrown out. Short of that, it really is the megaphone. And we heard that from civil rights leaders who were at the White House today. They want to see President Biden speak about this more forcefully, more regularly, continue to exert pressure, not give up. There still are legislative solutions that could pass, even if they aren't as sweeping as the big bill that was passed in the House and that some senators want. There aren't Democratic votes for that now, but the hope among some advocates is that by President Biden continuing to talk about this, by continuing to keep that bully pulpit at a pretty loud volume, that you may be able to change some of the politics around this and be able to pass something while Democrats control Congress.
And what can you tell us about the current situation going on in Texas right now?
Yeah, the Texas legislature is now back in session. We remember when Democrats forced the Republicans to convene through a walkout without moving any new legislation. But the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, who is a pretty strong Trump supporter, he's been endorsed by Trump, and he's got a tough re-election race on his hands. He's called a special session of the legislature that reads like a conservative wish list. And item 1 on that agenda, according to lawmakers there, is what they're calling electorate integrity. They're going to try to take up this bill. They'll probably be moving through this weekend to try to craft what will be a pretty restrictive new law around how to access the ballot box in Texas.
Rick Klein, thank you so much as always.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning news update right here on the Riley King Radio Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And see you tomorrow for another news update. Goodbye.